Good morning, everyone. I will start by introducing the background of our case study on smart tech solutions. In today's global business environment, supply chains, especially in the electronics industry, have become highly complex and interconnected. Many companies rely on specialized components that are produced in limited geographical locations. While this allows firms to achieve efficiency and innovation, it also increases their exposure to supply chain disruptions. Smart Tech Solutions is a growing technology company that develops AI-enabled and smart electronic products. A critical component in its product is the Neural Processing Unit, or NPU chip, which supports machine learning, edge computing, and intelligent system performance. The company currently relies on a simple supplier located near its manufacturing facility in China to source this chip. Because the NPU chip is essential to product performance, any disruption in its supply could significantly affect production, delivery schedules, and overall competitiveness. Although the single source procurement strategy previously helped SmartTech reduce costs and lead times, it has now become a major supply chain vulnerability. The company is exposed to various risks including geopolitical tensions, trade restrictions, natural disasters, pandemics, and supplier-specific failures. Recent global semiconductor shortages have clearly shown the dangers of relying on highly concentrated supply networks. If the NPU chip supply is disrupted, SmartTech may face production delays, postponed product launches, and loss of competitiveness in international markets. Therefore, the purpose of this case study is to examine the risk associated with SmartTech's current strategy and to understand how supplier concentration affects the global supply chain resilience. This analysis provides the foundation for evaluating alternative sourcing options and assessing logistics and security challenges within the global supply chain.
Good day, Dr. Najiha. Now I will move on to my part, which is part 2.0 risk assessment. In this section, I will discuss the key risks associated with SmartTech current supply chain, particularly its reliance on a single supplier, Silicon Prime, and how these risks may affect the company operation and long-term performance. First, I will begin with the SWOT analysis of SmartTech current single source procurement strategy. In terms of strength, Silicon Prime provides cutting-edge NPU technology along with consistent quality and relevant performance. This enables SmartTech to remain competitive and meet market expectations. However, there are several weaknesses. Relying on only one supplier increases the risk of production shutdown if any disruption occurs. In addition, SmartTech have limited purchasing power, which can lead to higher switching costs and potential delay when the supplier faces internal constraints. From an external perspective, there are also opportunities. The global shift towards supply chain diversification and the emergence of semiconductor hubs in regions such as Taiwan, South Korea, and the European Union create opportunity for SmartTech to engage alternative suppliers and reduce over-reliance on a single geographical location. On the other hand, there are significant threats. These include escalating geopolitical tension, stricter trade regulation, and the increased risk of cyber attack targeting the sole supplier. Any political, operational, or technological disruption at Silicon Prime could immediately halt SmartTech production, highlighting the strategic risk of a single-source procurement model. Next, I will move on to geopolitical and supplier-specific risks. Geopolitical risks are among the most critical concerns for SmartTech. Trade disputes and sanctions between major economies such as China and the United States may restrict the exporter of semiconductor components. Change in trade policy, traffic or export control or national security regulation can also disrupt the cross-border movement of critical inputs. Furthermore, political instability or diplomatic conflict may lead to unexpected supply shortages that are beyond to the company control. For supplier, specific risks are equally significant. Since Silicon Prime is the only one supplier, it represents a single point of failure in the supply chain. Any internal disruption, such as equipment failure, factory shutdown, labor strikes, or financial difficulties, could immediately interrupt the supply of NPU chips. In addition, cybersecurity threats such as cyber espionage or hardware trojans raise concern about compromised component, intellectual property theft, and potentially damage to the smart tech brand reputation. Finally, I will discuss the implication for global supplier chain reliance. A reliant supply chain requires flexibility, redundancy, and the ability to respond quickly to unexpected disruption. Smart Tech current single supplier model lack this characteristic, making the supply chain fragile and highly sensitive to geopolitical, cyber, and operational risks. Any disruption at the supplier level could halt production, delay product delivery, and result in financial loss or decline in market share. To improve reliance, SmartTech should diversify its supplier across different regions, exchange cybersecurity measures, and increase visibility across the entire supply chain. By adopting a multi-sourcing strategy, conducting regular supplier audits, and investing in risk monitoring system and secure logistic process, SmartTech can reduce dependency on a single supplier and strengthen supplier continuity. Overall, addressing this risk is essential to ensure long-term business stability and competitiveness in an increasingly complex global environment. That concludes my part of Part 2.0 risk assessment. Thank you.
Moving on to our supplier diversification strategy. The supplier diversification strategy seeks to reduce reliance on single NPU chip supplier, Silicon Prime in China, while minimizing geopolitical, operational, and supply disruption risks. This approach improves supply chain resilience, flexibility, and continuity, and align with the global best practice for risk mitigation in the semiconductor industry amid political uncertainty, trade restriction, and technology challenges. To support diversification, there are two alternative semiconductor suppliers located outside China were identified. The first is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or known as TSMC. TSMC is a global leader in advanced semiconductor manufacturing and is well known for producing high-performance chips for major technology firms. The second alternative is Samsung Semiconductor from South Korea. Samsung offers advanced foundry service, strong production capacity, and continuous technological innovations. Both suppliers are located in East Asia, which allows SmartTech to remain within an established semiconductor ecosystem while reducing geographic concentration risks. These two suppliers were evaluated using several key criteria, including technological capability, geopolitical risk, supply reliability, and strategic trade relationship. The TSMC demonstrates superior technical expertise and strong industry leadership. However, Taiwan faced increasing geopolitical tension, particularly across the Taiwan Strait, which raised concern about potential supply disruptions. On the other hand, Samsung Semiconductor provide comparable technological performance but operate in a more politically stable environment. South Korea also maintains strong trade relationship with major markets such as the United States, which reduce the likelihood of trade-related disruptions. Based on the evaluation, Samsung Semiconductor was selected as the most suitable supplier for the smart tech diversification strategy. Although the TSMC lead in technical capability, Samsung offers more balanced combination of advanced technology, political stability, and long-term supply reliability. This reduces smart tech exposure to external risks while maintaining high product quality. By integrating Samsung as an additional supplier, SmartTech can enhance supply chain resilience, improve bargaining power, and ensure more stable production in long terms.
Good day, Dr. Najiha, and hello everyone. For my part, I will be presenting section 4.0, which focuses on physical and logistic security. Physical and logistic security is very important because NPU chips are expensive, sensitive to damage and tampering, and critical to production continuity. While supplier diversification helps SmartTech reduce risk, it also increases logistic complexity due to cross-border transportation and additional handling points. Therefore, strong logistic security is needed to ensure supply continuity, protect intellectual property, and support on-time manufacturing and delivery. Next, I will explain the physical journey of the NPU chips. An NPU, or Neural Processing Unit, Chip is a special type of computer chip designed specifically to process artificial intelligence or AI tasks. For the current supplier in China, Silicon Prime, the chips are transported through secure domestic tracking directly to SmartTech manufacturing facility. For the new supplier, Samsung Semiconductor in South Korea, the chips are shipped from fabrication facilities to Incheon Port or Incheon International Airport before being transported to China. Once the chips arrive in China, they go through custom clearance, are temporarily stored in bonded warehouse, and then delivered to the factory. Because these are international semiconductor shipments, they require tamper-resistant packaging, temperature-controlled containers, and batch traceability to maintain quality and security. Even though supplier diversification improves resilience, it also introduces new logistic vulnerabilities points. There are three major risk areas. The first is the international transit between South Korea and China, where risks include theft, tampering, shipment delays, and trade restrictions. The second is Chinese customs and bonded warehouses, where regulatory delays, mishandling, and limited visibility may occur. The third risk point is final domestic transportation, which can face issues such as cargo theft, traffic congestion, or vehicle breakdowns. These vulnerabilities are important because semiconductor components are high-value targets and are especially vulnerable during cross-border movement. Weak logistics security can cause production stoppage, delayed product launches, and financial or reputational losses. If these risks are not properly managed, they can reduce the benefits of supplier diversification. To manage these risks, SmartTech solutions should implement several logistics security strategies. First, real-time visibility using GPS tracking allows SmartTech to monitor shipments and respond quickly to delays. Second, secure packaging such as tamper-evident and temperature-controlled containers help protect the chips from damage and unauthorized access. Third, working with trusted logistics partners who have experience handling semiconductor products reduces operational risk. Finally, adopting the ISO 28000 standards ensure proper risk management, secure chains of custody, and effective incident response. In conclusion, strong physical and logistics security helps improve supply chain resilience, ensure operational continuity, and support risk preparedness. It also strengthens SmartTech supplier diversification strategy and supports long-term sustainability. With effective logistics security, SmartTech can operate reliably in a complex global supply chain.
So, to mitigate this risk, three strategic actions are proposed, which is firstly is supplier diversification through dual sourcing with Samsung reduce dependency on a single supplier and strengthens bargaining power. Second, enhance logistics security through real-time tracking and secure packaging, and ISO 28000 standards help minimize theft, delays, and damage. Third, supplier monitoring and contingency planning, including audits, safety stocks, and risk simulation. It improves preparedness for disruption. In long term, SmartTech should adopt global multi-sourcing, integrate AI-driven risk management, and build strategic supplier partnership focused on sustainability and innovation. Together, these strategies will create a resilient, flexible, and sustainable supply chain that prepares SmartTech solutions for long-term success in an uncertain global environment. So, to mitigate this risk, three strategic actions are proposed, which is firstly is supplier diversification through dual sourcing with Samsung reduce dependency on a single supplier and strengthens bargaining power. Second, enhance logistics security through real-time tracking and secure packaging, and ISO 28000 standards help minimize theft, delays, and damage. Third, supplier monitoring and contingency planning, including audits, safety stocks, and risk simulation. It improves preparedness for disruption. In long term, Smart tech should adopt global multi-sourcing, integrate AI-driven risk management, and build strategic supplier partnership focused on sustainability and innovation. Together, these strategies will create a resilient, flexible, and sustainable supply chain that prepares smart tech solutions for long-term success in an uncertain global environment.
To conclude, this case study clearly demonstrates that smart tech solutions' dependence on a single supplier for its NPU chips exposes the company to significant operational, geopolitical, and supply-related risks. While the supplier provides advanced technology and consistent quality, the lack of redundancy makes the supply chain fragile and highly sensitive to external disruptions. The findings shows that supply chain concentration reduces flexibility, weakens bargaining power, and increases the vulnerability to unexpected events such as trade conflicts and cyber threats. Also, production shutdowns. Additionally, the complex international movement of high-value semiconductor components further increases exposure to logistics and security risks. Overall, this study highlights the importance of supply chain structure and risk awareness in global supply chain management. It emphasizes that in an increasingly uncertain global environment, companies must clearly understand their supply chain dependencies in order to maintain business continuity and long-term competitiveness in international markets. Thank you.